The beauty of this jig, this one is by Precision Hardware, is that you buy this aluminum frame here, and all these are inserts with magnets on the back. This one, for instance, is a 4-inch hinge that you can just swap these out, and these are also oversized. This is the size of the hinge plus 1/8 of an inch, and it allows me to, once I mark center line on this, and when I have my pieces clamped to my table, I can just line up center line to center line and just work my way from hinge to hinge. So when it comes to routing, I have just a little trim router here, and this one is cordless, even though it's hooked up to dust collection. Not having to trip over a cord is really nice, but the router bit that I like to use, this is a downcut bit, and what that does when you're mortising hinges, instead of an upcut bit that it pulls the fibers up, this one's downcut, so it's cutting down. It leaves a much cleaner mortise all around. So that's what I like to use. And then it has a bushing on it right here, and that is oversized, a 1/16 on each side. So this is 1/2-inch diameter bit, but then the bushing is 5/8. So that works with this template because this is set up for 1/8 inch oversized. So before I get going, I'd like to have the actual hinge on site. And as you can see here with this little mock-up here, I was playing around with the hinge depth, and I started off with it being flush, but then when I closed it, the gap was way too tight, and I did not want to mess with that after assembling the jamb. So you play with the depth with the hinge that you're going to use, and you can dial in the gap that you want. Now that one jamb is done, I'm going to switch this around, but then you'll see in order to work on this side, I'm going to be rotating this, so those X's that we made earlier is going to help to make sure we are doing the correct side. So here's one thing I wanted to mention as I am mortising the last hinge, is just the direction that you use your router on this, because you do not want to start on one end here, follow around the corner, because as soon as you come out here, you're going to have chip out or blowout on this side. So what I like to do is I generally start on the right hand side, and I will mortise in even like 1/4 of an inch, and I will take this whole way across and then come around and follow the perimeter. And then when I'm coming out of this side, since I've already mortised here, I'm not going to have any tear out on this edge. Now that I just got done mortising this last hinge, I am going to take clamps off and the jig, but what you can see here from this jig in that 1/2-inch radius, I am left with this radius for the inside corner, but my hinges are squared off. So I am going to take a corner chisel and I am going to square off all of these and then pre-drill for the screw locations. Okay, now that mortises are done, I pre-drilled for the screws. We are now ready to assemble this jamb. So everything is pretty straightforward. The only thing that I think is worth mentioning is this top jamb, at least in the way that I'm doing it here, is a very critical dimension because this sets the inside dimension for this jamb. So I take a story pole, and I made this earlier, and this is based on the size of door that I want, the clearance between the doors, the gaps between the door and the jamb, and I have everything figured out there, and I was able to take a measurement from here, and cut this top jamb to that length. And then when I'm putting this jamb together, I just flush it out so that the jamb is flush with the end here. And then I'll take a brad nailer and I'll pop a few nails just to hold it. And then I will pre-drill and add some screws. And that is what making that story pole allows me the confidence to know that once these doors go in, I get the exact dimension that I'm looking for. Now that the jamb is assembled, I'm going to get this off the bench and we are going to work on the doors. We need to add a bevel because they came full and square, and then we also need to mortise for the hinges.